So I was watching our enemies, like I told you guys I do. I watch in order to become a better political commentator. I gotta see what our enemies are saying, what they're saying in neoliberal news. And what I have noticed is, even I'm gonna show you guys the extreme example with Larry Kudlow here. But if you watch an MSNBC or CNN segment, MSNBC, who people deem the left, they was very careful not to say whether the workers should get their demands or not.
Right.
It's a very clear pattern. And me and CJ, we do propaganda report. We break down, we can't help but notice all the small stuff that corporate media does. And they did a segment, I think it was I don't know the name of the host, but they were just talking about the strike, talking about the devastating effects on society it will have. Never once mentioned whether workers should be paid to take medical days off or not. That never came up. It's just, these workers got demands.
Yeah.
Should Biden force them to concede? It just never a pin towards the workers. And I can't help but notice that. And I want you guys to know that was on MSNBC and CNN. I'm going to show you guys the extreme version. We're going to watch maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. Just so you guys can see the plain meltdown, which I'm going to explain afterwards, actually makes our point. And I'm going to explain that point later. Give me a second. Let me share the screen. Get a little side of here. Here we go.
You excited for our reaction, Nick, or what?
Yeah, because I was holding on. I didn't want to share this one to you because I want to see your reaction.
Right,
having you on, Larry. It's so great to see you. Larry, how worried are you about this railroad strike? It looks like it could happen. It could hit the White House, the midterms, the economy really hard.
Well, I agree with that, Liz. Things are in very poor economic shape right now between inflation and recession. And if they go out on strike, it's going to make everything worse. All right. Supply shortages will reappear. Prices are going to go up. People are going to get laid off. It's not a good story. Nothing here is a good story, I must say, in general, but this will make it worse.
How confident are you that the White House can fix it and Congress can do anything? You look at the data coming in, Larry, the Trucking Association is now saying they're going to need 460,000 long-haul trucks running daily if this happens, but we already have a shortage of 80,000 truckers.
Well, that's right. I mean, you're way short on the truckers. Trucking, by the way, I think carries something like 75% of all the goods that flow inside the United States. And they're not going to be able to pick up the slack if the freights go out of business or if they go on strike or for how long. I don't think the White House there's nothing they can do, to be honest with you. It's an odd story because wages have been rising almost too much in some cases, but I'm happy with higher wages.
What? So
it's almost too much in some cases, but I'm happy with higher wages.
There's so much wrong with that. So many layers.
Yeah, I want to pass it to you, CJ and Bree, but can we take a second to admire the extreme irony of these two conservatives begging the Biden White House, the government, to get involved? Government, these are the conservatives. Government.
They open by saying this is bad for Democrats, right? Like, it's not the whole point. This is going to be bad for election chances. This is bad for inflation. This is bad for Biden. So where does the twist happen when suddenly Republicans aren't rooting for outcomes that are bad for Biden? No, what you realize tacitly in the context of that segment is that the corporate interests are linked across parties and it's bad for business. It's simply bad for business.
Absolutely. And it's never that. Why isn't the approach though in these? Now this is hypothetical, but not hypothetical, but rhetorical. But why aren't they ever from the point of view of the worker? Why aren't they saying, just having a worker saying, "Hey, we don't have an under reasonable demand. We're just saying this." Like, it's never that. It's that if these striking workers, they never give a reason. It's always absent in the story to fill in, to make it seem like it's unreasonable. It's like they don't possibly have reasonable demands, but they're going to make all of us feel this pain. So it's very interesting in the propaganda game.
And I show that one because Larry Kudlow is a clown. It's always funny. He watches this dude. But I cannot stress enough, even though that was a more comedic version, I've seen this all over corporate news when I watch all different coverage of this. And you guys will see what the neocons are saying, the Democrats shit live the Ukraine proxy war pushers are saying. This is unbelievable. I literally saw this maybe like 10 minutes before I got on stream. This is unbelievable. They like saying the quiet part out loud. Look, you see the Ukraine flag right here. This guy said, rail workers going on strike because slow weapons and equipment deliveries to Ukraine and American troops. And not just food and packages, and not just about you guys. What about our war? And then this fascist here, Adam Kissinger. Am I getting that right?
Oh, this is not satire. This is not a joke account.
No,
they're not making fun of it. This is real.
These are real people. 640,000 followers. This dude is insane. I've seen his tweets. This dude is
wow.
Look at this. There cannot be a rail strike, and the federal government must intercede to prevent this. This is the Zelensky Democrats, guys. You know, Zelensky, who just he took away workers' bargaining rights. So you guys see why they all on the same page?
Yeah.
So I'll show you guys both sides. You guys see how all the capitalists, no matter what party you're on, they all got bad taste. But Breeze, CJ, do you want to take that on before I move to the next part?
I mean, he's actually proving the broader point about why these kind of labor actions are so important. I feel like I want to respond to that tweet with one of those like Jack Nicholson nodding gifts. Like, yes, like exactly. Like if we have these kind of objections to endless war, if we feel like the government unwarrantedly spends $70 billion on Ukraine, but won't spend $80 billion in canceling our medical debt, if we feel like these contrasts are being ignored, or these inconsistencies are being ignored by our government, we don't live in a democracy, we live in an oligarchy, then this is what, people like you here on RBN who've been talking, insistently, and I think rightly so, about the power of strikes and general strikes more broadly. This becomes the only mechanism available to you.
Yes.
That's, precisely because it is outside of electoral politics and traditional democracy.
And to that point, let me make this point.
Yeah,
that point, this is what I was saying also on the stream yesterday, because I kind of briefly covered an article. I think it's a World Socialist website. I covered an article from them on this, and that is, this illustrates the power of general strike. So for those that are kind of like, what could happen? Like, this is a perfect, and what's perfect about it is, it's an updated version of it, because it's a union where the leadership is joining the capitalists, but the rank and file is saying, oh, no. We're not doing that, because that's what happened in this situation while we're even here, because the leadership wanted to just capitulate and say, okay, we were fine with the raise, but the rank and file, I can't remember, it was in the 70s, 78% or something, 79% voted for 2 strikes. So it was out of the leadership's hand, but this is what it looks like. You see them like squirming, and if we had targeted strikes with targeted industry specifically, this would be one of the industries we would target. Is a complete shutdown of the capital. And when capitalists are not making money, that's when we can negotiate things. That's when the beginning can happen for this revolution.